What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. In this video we're going to be talking about my reaction of the game last night. The Las Vegas Raiders fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers and essentially are eliminated from the playoffs. Before I get started on that though, anybody that's new to the channel and you guys love Raiders related content like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. With that being said, let's jump right into it. Now, as I mentioned, the Las Vegas Raiders fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers and are essentially eliminated for any type of possibility of sneaking into this year's playoffs. Look, it was a long shot either way, but if you wanted to do it, if you wanted to have any type of miracle, that was the game you had to have won. The Raiders lost in a cold, gritty, low-scoring game where the main takeaway was our quarterback Derek Carr, and not for any good reasons. Look, going into this game I was nervous for this very reason, because Derek Carr's history in cold weather games have been very concerning. But reflecting on last night's game, I mean, that game was 100% a very winnable game. I actually didn't expect it to be that type of game. I didn't expect our defense to play that good. Ultimately, in my opinion, I think Derek Carr really let this team down last night. We needed him to at least have a solid game, like a game manager type of game where he can just control the time of possession. At the very least, if you're not going to put points on the board, get first downs, let the defense rest, kill some time off the clock. But at the very minimum, I was expecting Carr could at least, move the ball, get this offense in field goal range, and most importantly, take care of the football. Derek Carr ended the game last night with 174 passing yards, 1 touchdown pass, and 3 interceptions. And the Raiders, who had 10 points at halftime, were unable to score any points on offense in the entire second half, which is absolutely pathetic, especially having a quarterback who is set to make close to $40 million next year if the Raiders do not move on from him in this offseason. But as I mentioned earlier, the Raiders defense did an excellent job. They kept us in the game time after time throughout the whole entire game, getting stops after stops. There was even a point where they held the Steelers offense in 6 straight possessions, through 3 and outs and even an interception from Denzel Perryman. And at the end of the day, I think the excuses and ultimately the time for Derek Carr is up with this franchise. Look, 9 years in the league and he still can't lead the Raiders to seriously contend for a Super Bowl, which should be the end goal. This guy, it's not a lock for him to make the playoffs at all. He has not won a playoff game. So at this point, man, we really have to consider that it's time to move on from Derek Carr, especially with the amount of weapons he has on offense. And speaking of his weapons, how is it possible that we have the best wide receiver in all of football in Davante Adams and we could only get him the ball twice for 15 yards, especially considering the fact that this man has played in freezing temperatures throughout his whole career in Green Bay, and our quarterback could not get him the ball. And also, if you think about it, I've mentioned this in the past before, December is really the most crucial portion of the season for NFL teams. This is where you play for all the marbles, where the stakes are high, where you can either solidify yourself into the playoffs or you can completely crumble. And I bring this up because Derek Carr is now an atrocious 0-8 in weather below 37 degrees. But also, if you look at his record and statistics throughout his career in the month of December, those are also very concerning to me. Derek Carr has played about 40 games in the month of December throughout his career. He's only won 16 games. That's about a 40% winning percentage. And on average, he has a 61% completion percentage, about 232 yards in the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 77 passer rating in the month of December. As I mentioned, the most crucial portion of the season for NFL teams. And you look those numbers, look, they're average at best. That's what I would consider Derek Carr at this point in his career, just an average starting quarterback. I really consider him just like a middle of the pack quarterback. There's nothing really special about this guy. And also, if you can't play in cold weather, which most of the country during the month of December is played in cold weather, so if you can't play your best games during this crucial stretch, it's almost impossible to win with this guy. You have to think about it. In order for us to win with Derek Carr, he needs so much stuff to go his way. Not only that, we have to be the #1 seed in the AFC because we need home field advantage, because this guy does not play well in cold weather. So at this point, I think also Derek Carr has shown numerous signs of him possibly regressing as a quarterback this year. There has just been so many underthrown or overthrown passes by him this year. And at least in my memory, this year is really where I've seen him do it at a much larger rate than I am accustomed to, because that was really one of his biggest strengths. I felt like early on in his career was his accuracy throwing the football. And we clearly saw that on the last interception, where our wide receiver Hunter Renfrow, he was wide open across the middle of the field, and Derek Carr, he throws an absolute duck of a football, way overthrows Hunter Renfrow, and he put so much air on that football that it was just such an easy interception by the Steelers, and that was the play to end the game. And even if we would have made that play, look, I would still argue like that, why were we even in that position? We had 10 points at halftime. We couldn't get any points besides that. Either way, Carr still had a chance to possibly get us into field goal range, possibly even win us the game with a game-winning drive, and he was unable to do so. Derek Carr had one of his worst performances of the season, and that's saying a lot because he has played pretty bad in a lot of these games so far in this season. And look, before anybody tries to attack me because out here criticizing Derek Carr, look, I'm gonna be honest, it hurts for me to make this assessment of Derek Carr, because I was a huge fan of Derek Carr when we drafted him. I really thought when we drafted him, this could be our franchise quarterback. But at this point, you can only be so patient with a guy. He has let me down time after time, year after year, and I think the time has come. I think it's time for the change for the Raiders and for Derek Carr. Now at this point, I don't know what Derek Carr, if he said in the past that if he doesn't play for the Raiders, he would rather retire. I don't know if he'll hold up to that, or if he's willing to waive his no trade clause. Potentially we could trade him somewhere. I have no idea what's going to happen. But at this point in time, I think the time between Derek Carr and the Raiders is essentially over. I most definitely expect Josh McDaniels and GM Dave Ziegler to look at quarterback replacements via free agency and through the draft for a potential starter at this position. So we will definitely in the near future start making some more content on possible quarterback options for next season. But Raider Nation, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Is it time to move on from Derek Carr? Let me know down below. As I mentioned, the Raiders blew a perfect opportunity to win this game and at least still have a chance to somehow, some way sneak into the playoffs. The Raiders, and most importantly, Derek Carr, blew it. But with that being said, Raider Nation, that is all I have for you guys in today's video. Anybody that is new to the channel and you guys love Raiders related content like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.